Hey, it's... Oh, hold on a second. Oh. Hey, it's Jay, and welcome to this week's episode. Now, if you suffer from IBD, that's irritable bowel disease, whether it's Crohn's disease like I have, or ulcerative colitis, then you know that feeling. You know that feeling when you're talking to someone or you're about to do something and you just have to go. You have to go to the toilet. I know this isn't a nice subject to talk about, but this week is IBD Awareness Week. IBD, as I said, is irritable bowel disease. Unfortunately, it has got, in some people's minds, clumped in with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and lots of people don't really acknowledge that that is a problem, but it is in its own right. But IBD, irritable bowel disease, is where you have a disease or a condition and you have it all the time. It is not necessarily specific to a situation. IBS can be provoked by stress, can be provoked by certain foods and things like that, and IBD can as well, but the chances of IBD, and this is, I'm just talking from my own experience here, is that you just don't know when you're going to have what I call a flare-up of the condition. I was diagnosed at the age of 12. I had lost a lot of weight. I was showing symptoms of the disease, and yet because it was less known, I wouldn't say unknown, it was less well known than it is today. I mean, the fact that lots of people still don't know about it, which is the reason for this awareness week, but anyway, I digress. My family, we didn't know what was going on. I was losing a lot of weight. I went for a blood test and I got called in. They said, come in, we need to get something sorted. At that point, as I say, I was around 12. I was down at about between 6 and 7 stone. So I was very, very ill, if truth be told. And I was put onto a medication. I seem to remember at that point I had to have intravenous drip because I was so severely dehydrated. And I was put on medication. And it seemed fine. It seemed fine for a few years. And then when I was 15, I believe it was, again the symptoms had come back. I was suffering with abdominal cramps. I was having to go to the toilet, the bathroom, whatever you want to call it, multiple times a day. And when I say multiple, when I was having a flare-up, it was up to 10 times a day. I would go, and then within minutes I would need to go again. Anything I ate was coming out of me. I know, I said, sorry, this isn't a nice subject to talk about. I hope you're not eating. So I got called back into the hospital, and that's when they realised that the tablets that I had been on had stopped working for me. So I was put onto steroids. And that, since the age of 15, and I'm now 36, I have been on steroids for my Crohn's disease. I've had flare-ups of where I've had colitis, which is bleeding from in the stools as well, but that has only been a very rare occasion for me. My main condition is Crohn's disease, and so for many years I've had to be aware of what I'm eating, be aware of the situations I've put myself in. Whenever I go out, I had to be aware of where the nearest toilets were. I had to plan before I went out. There were times when I didn't go out, when I'd have a flare-up and I just did not have the confidence. I could not take myself out into public with the risk of having an accident, because sometimes luckily for myself, it never happened, but I've seen other people that this has happened to, and it's the most embarrassing thing. I mean, just imagine that you're out with friends, or you're out wherever, and you need the toilet, but you just can't, there's nowhere to go, and you can't help it. Your bowels cannot cope with what is there, and they release. And as I say, I know, I'm sorry, it's disgusting, but in my situation, again, this is only my experience, this is what happens. Or I should say, what has happened. I mean, touch wood, I've been so lucky in one respect that I haven't had any flare-ups in many, many years. Partly because I feel that I ended up having kidney failure, not related, I don't think, to the Crohn's or the medication. This was a separate incident. I've since and since being on, when I was on dialysis, and then since having the transplant, I have not, again, touch wood, not had any flare-ups. Still get abdominal cramps. I still get situations where I'm like, no, I know something's going on here. The circumstances around it are one of those things that people are embarrassed to talk about, because it's to do with going to the toilet, going to the bathroom. And, embarrassment covers up a lot of things. Embarrassment stops people talking about things that need to be talked about. There are people who suffer from IBD and really, really suffer. I have been so lucky. There's people who have to have parts of their bowel removed. There's people who have to have colostomy bags, I believe they're called, where they've had, their disease has gone so far that their bowels are removed, and so they cannot go to the toilet in the normal? No, I don't like that word. In the regular fashion. They have to defecate, and it goes out through a tube into a bag. Just imagine how that must feel. How self-aware you must be if it happens to you. It's really not nice. And it can affect young people. I know, as I say, I was diagnosed at 12. At 12, through my teen years, can you imagine not, just always having to be aware of what you're eating, what you're doing, where you are. It's not conducive to a regular teenage life. And still today, people are unaware of IBD, unaware of Crohn's disease, unaware of ulcerative colitis. And that's what this week is all about. It's about raising awareness. Today, I just looked down because today is Purple Friday, and you wear purple to raise awareness. I was wearing a purple jumper, I'm taking it off now, sorry about that. But raise awareness. If you don't know about IBD, I'm going to put some links to some charities and to some websites in the description bar below. So educate yourself, go out and find out about this disease, because more than likely you know someone who is affected by this. More than likely you're unaware that you know someone affected by this. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, go and educate yourself, and I'll see you next time.